Okay, so I've showed you this John Deere in the past, so I don't want to go through the litany of problems that it has and go into a lot of detail. At the end of this video, I'll put an up next box to a video that I already did on this where I went through it all. But essentially it has a bad ignition coil, it had a dead battery, it had a bad seat switch. So once I got past trying to figure out all that stuff, I put some starter fluid in it, I bypassed the solenoid, and I was able to get it to turn over and start for a few seconds with carb starting fluid. So it tells me we got a problem with the carburetor. So the customer doesn't want to buy a new carburetor, so they've asked me to see if I can clean this one. So I told them there's about a 75% chance that that'll work. Could be something damaged in the carburetor, we don't know. So they went ahead and took the risk. So I'm going to take it off and then we'll clean it. So we're going to take this bracket off. It's the only way I can get these linkages off, I think. I'm not entirely sure what the combination is, but there's always a combination figuring out how to get these things off. Okay, I'm doing this for my own record, but you should always take a picture of where the linkage came off at. So it came off here. I'm going to put it back on, see if I can get it on the way it was. So I have a record of it, so when I want to put it back on, I know how to put it on. Okay, so it goes on from the back side. Voila. And then we have one other linkage, spring linkage. See how hard this is going to be to get off. It's a challenge. So this linkage just pulled out and the spring hooked up on here. So that's just a simple pull out. And then we got the wire, but I don't see a disconnect without taking the top off. I'm not really excited about doing that, so I found it. Wait a minute. If I do that, can I get it back? Okay, first things first, we're going to clean the exterior of it as good as we can. I use gasoline. You don't like using gasoline, you can use carb cleaner. We use plenty of carb cleaner around here, trying to clean carbs inside. And they're $5 a bottle, so, or a can. So you try to minimize it. So one problem they have is their air filter side gasket is ripped. So we're gonna have to use Permatex because I don't have another gasket this size. So that's gonna make it difficult to get the air filter housing off. This is why I think it's so much safer to just go ahead and buy another carburetor. Okay, once you have it kind of cleaned up a little bit on the outside, and then we're going to take a wrench and knock off the shut-off valve. This is so when you shut off your engine, it doesn't backfire. This shuts off gas. When you turn your key off, this shuts off the gas to the carburetor. All right, so now we're going to open it up very carefully. And we have the float right here. We're going to remove the float. So what the float does is, as the bowl is filling up with gasoline, the float shuts, shutting off the flow of gas to the carburetor so it doesn't flood out. So I think I'm going to tell the customer that the carburetor is shot. The O-ring is dried out. I can't get the pin out to remove the float. It's stuck, and that should just slide right out with your fingers. There should be no issue with it coming out. The gasket is torn. The gasket on this side is torn. I think there's just way too much wrong with this one. They're not going to be happy, but that's the way it is. Okay, so I talked to the customer and I gave them a couple options. I said I could rebuild their current carburetor. but it would take a little bit more money than just buying a new one. These aftermarket carburetors just aren't that expensive. I think this one came up to, I don't know, near 40 bucks with taxes and everything. Yeah, it would taken me an hour or so, plus all the rebuild materials. So we'd have been up to 40, 50 bucks all the same, and you still would have had a used carburetor. So they opted for a new carburetor. So we'll wait a week on that. You know, they've already had it here a week, and now we got to wait another week. Still waiting for parts for the starting solenoid and the belt. I guess that'll be here Monday. So it, you know, it just sits here and waits. I'm still highly concerned about all the oil leaking. You know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on this. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was diagnosing the seat switch. So hope I can inspire you to be patient when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.